Find the inverse of the function shown. Here we have f of x equals 2 times the square root of x plus 4. Now first thing we want to do is write y equals 2 square root of x plus 4. And then to create the inverse, we switch the x and the y. So x equals 2 square root of y plus 4. And then we solve for y. So next thing we're going to do here is divide by 2 on both sides to get this radical by itself. So x divided by 2 equals square root of y plus 4. Now to get rid of the square root with a y, we need to square both sides. So it's going to be x squared over 2 squared equals y plus 4. And all this is, this x squared over 2 squared is if I go like that, boom. And then boom here. Okay, so x squared over 2 times 2, which is 4, equals y plus 4. Final step is to subtract 4. I'll put that up here. So it's going to be x squared over 4 minus 4 equals y. Now I'm going to switch sides here. So it's going to be y equals x squared over 4 minus 4. And then finally, back to function notation, f inverse of x equals x squared over 4 minus 4. Okay, so these functions are inverses of each other. Okay, so now I have to talk about the domain, because this inverse function is an x squared divided by 4 and then minus 4. Well, that's going to be a parabola. And a parabola is not going to match up with this square root. So we need to look at the calculator and figure out what the domain is going to do. So we have, for our first function, 2, and then square root of x plus 4. So then the second function is x squared then divided by 4, and then minus 4. And I don't use parentheses around the x squared minus 4 because this calculator does no order of operations. Okay, let's graph that and see. There's f of x. Then here comes the inverse of f of x. All right. Now the reflection line is y equals x here. And so notice that right here you have a problem. And the problem is that none of this part right here fits the inverse. It's only this part to the right of the y-axis. And that's why I have to specify the domain for this inverse function, because it doesn't match up unless you do that. So after looking at the calculator, we can see we have to restrict the domain of the inverse, that x is an element of the real numbers such that x is greater than or equal to 0. That now specifies our inverse function correctly.